Hello there, and as usual, I'm Aaron from My Staying Gamers, and welcome. So today I'm going to be trying to answer and maybe create a solution for a problem that many of you guys are having. Maybe you're entering a server a little bit late, this faction's already established, they've got weapons, equipment, and better tools, and all you have is this guy, an atmospheric descent pod. All it's really meant to do is get you started on your survival. It's a big, bulky ship, and it's not too good at hiding its position. And the biggest problem we'll be facing here is a guy just driving past with his mining ship going, oh, what's that down there? Oh, someone's starting a survival in this area? Oh, I might just fire a missile at him. And that is how that situation happened. And since I experienced this on a server, I found myself just getting destroyed maybe 5 minutes in. I'd just start building a platform outside the lander, and then a guy would come along and find me. So we need to find a way of stashing this, and there's multiple ways of doing it. But first, let's choose a landing site. One of my favourite places to land in a normal situation would be the icy area, because it's very clear where the ore deposits are. You can see these greyer areas tend to have ore deposits within them below. But saying that, there's not too much concealment here. If we just have a look around, you can spot the lander even though it's pretty well disguised. And we could even use some paint in here. So if I actually click that and we paint this up grey, remember paint is absolutely free and it might save you bacon. And I'll take a copy and paste of that just for the moment, and we'll take it over to do a different biome. So we've got the desert areas. Now the desert areas once again are very sort of scarce and vast. I think there's a desert area over here. We'll just do a quick little flyby. Oh, here we go. We've got the desert and the Sahara area. Another place where this ship will actually stick out just like a sore thumb. So just this area needs to load in a little bit. And we can see we've got a variety of different cactuses, but landing in a place like this is once again just very risky business. That descent pod is going to stick out from absolute miles away, as you can see there. And there is other areas like this that you might want to think about descending into. These little canyons and gaps, these are perfect for hiding early on. You can build a little bit of a base into the cave. Just really need to think about where you're placing this early start point. At the same time, you're looking for the ore deposits. It looks like we've got a deposit here in this sort of crack and crevice. Just have a look at the ground where it changes colour, and you have a usual scan with your sensors. These canyons are absolutely perfect though for stashing your stuff, just to get a lot of shadow, a lot of darkness in these places. So let's actually have a look at a more green foresty environment. I believe there's actually one on this hillside over here. So you can see this forest area offers a lot of cover, a little bit harder to spot the ore deposits, but they're still there in the smaller areas. But this forest will disguise us very well, and my favourite way of doing this actually is if we just get ourselves the lunar lander for the minute and we place it here. Now notice the shade of the actual trees around it, they're actually a much darker green. So if we go to our palette and select that green in tone, and I just select a block that we can actually place, I think that's not even dark enough just yet. I think we'll get a little bit of a darker tone and colour. So there we go. We can actually size ourselves as a bush quite effectively from a distance. We're still sticking out. We need to be a much darker green tone. So it just takes a few moments to camouflage your ship, but this is going to really help you in the long run. So let's have a look at that green. I don't know if that's going to be too dark now. Oh, I think this might be perfect actually. So let's just green that up. Oh, maybe a little bit too dark. But at the same time, from a distance, is it going to turn into a tree? It's looking better. But at the same time, you just need to work your way into the environment. And I don't want to be sitting up within this lander too long. I want to get stuff below ground where it's completely out the way. So as you're descending with your descent pod down towards the ground, you're slowly disabling your engines and moving in. You need to be very careful. You need to keep an eye on your actual engine resources, putting in the thrusters when you need them, not using too much excessive power. Really keep an eye on how much fuel time you'll have left. It tends to juggle between 18 minutes and 37 days, depending on how much thrust you actually use. And something that you can really do is just tilt the ship to get the direction you want without using too much thrust, and it'll drift towards that direction. And as you're coming in low over the environment here, you want to be scanning what's below. Ideally, if you can get a uranium deposit like it's actually showing up here, that would be absolutely perfect. And just look how far away we can see them other atmospheric landers. So what we're going to need to do as well as we defend is get rid of that beacon. So find that beacon in the actual list. What's it called itself? I'm not too sure in this case. I think it's called itself atmospheric lander maybe. There we go. So we can switch that beacon off, we can save some power at the same time, not give ourselves away. And we can also know the location of this. If I just come into land, we lock our landing gear on that position, get rid of our engines, and we can just set ourselves a GPS position from this current location, and that'll mark it without actually giving our position away to anyone else. So we can disable our HUD now, shut down the rest of our systems so we can find the thrusters in here, start saving some of this power. And now let's have a look what else is wasting power. So we've got a flight seat, that's going to need power. Like the gyroscope at the moment since we parked, how much is that using? Maximum required is 30, so we can just get rid of that. We can start working away, cut maybe half the lights out. I don't think they use too much at all. Landing gears don't really require anything. You've got these LCD panels, and we kind of know what these LCD panels already say. So if I just hop out that flight, so you can see the scouting priorities on this side: locate ice for fuel, survey the area for deposits, and you can see build solar panels. And if we go a little bit further down, we can actually see that we have 6 solar panels in stock, 2 batteries on 1 flight seat. And many of us are just tempted to start building on this plain area outside next to the ship, and that is how you get killed very early on. What we need to do is actually grab our tool, and this is what I'd recommend, is go a few meters away from your actual ship and just start digging a very small area into the deposit. So you can see as we get the drill out, and we'll start to find a deposit in the area wherever that uranium was detected. I think there's silicon, magnesium there. And we're just going to do an L-shaped tunnel into the ground using the right mouse button so we can dig into it very fast. So I've actually moved location. I'm actually decided to set up in this particular area. Now, I was going to choose an icy sort of field cave area so I could have ice and other resources on quick demand to produce hydrogen later on. But I've actually decided to stick in this valley here because it has very good concealment from the air. And if someone does decide to fly through it, that I doubt they will. I believe they'll just fly over it. There'll be very limited visibility sort of time on my atmospheric descent pod, and I've started to build the base into the ground. So if I just come into here quickly, you can see I'm shifting components through this large tunnel shaft from up in the air. You can barely even see it because that tree happens to block the entrance. And down inside here, I've actually built the refinery and the assembler that were in the descent pod, and the plan is to keep mining out this area, collecting the resources as I go, plugging it back into here. So this is proving 2 things. I'm getting an awesome underground base. This is clear from the air above, so people are not going to be able to see me build up my supplies and resources. And as I get bigger and bigger, I can start digging out a larger area. So what I'm going to do over here, I think, is get the drill out and start building a hangar area where I can actually build a first ship, perhaps. Once that first ship is completed, all I have to do then is build a way of getting out of here. And that is pretty much how you build from inside out and stay very concealed. I'm going to continue building up this base for a few more minutes and just get to a stage where the lander is completely in parts so I can't be spotted from above. So now that we're back outside, we were very quick to use the resources aboard the ship, get the solar panels going, take and scrap the materials inside, bring them back inside, and since we're on an Earth-like planet, we don't need the oxygen straight away. All we need is the basic supplies to get building. Now we really need to scrap this thing really fast before it gets spotted from above, get it all with inside our bunker. So we're going to start ripping out the important components. So you can see the refinery and the assembler's already gone. The reactor that was on top of there is already gone. We can get rid of that oxygen vent and start bringing the rest of the stuff inside and just get this out of sight. I think we'll start scrapping from the top to the bottom first. So 45 minutes have passed now. I've completely disassembled the lander and I've converted all the parts into resources and put them down within the bunker. And from above, this area is pretty much undetected. If you're just flying past in a ship or you even come in close down the valley, you're not going to catch that hole in the corner. And this is going to buy us that valuable time we need once again to build up our arsenal. Maybe even if we've got a few more players, we can actually wage a few different ships, mining ships, attack ships, and we can actually bring the fight when we're ready to them other factions rather than them factions having the advantage over us because we're weak at the start and they now either have to be merciful with us or just completely tear us apart. You can see we've got the assembler's refinery over this section. Something important to do if there's ever a refinery explosion that happens every now and then since it's space engineers. We've got the med bay over here so we can respawn down here as well as an oxygen storage, and we also have the vent that's going to be sucking in oxygen once I set that up. Down here I had to build a larger cargo container because I couldn't fit all the supplies into the 2 tinier ones that I did there, and since we're at this stage it's very important that we admin and work out how we're going to pipe everything up. And the next stage is I'm just going to expand this tunnel out a little bit further, build a ship within here, and that'll be my first mining ship that'll continue mining down into this deposit that we've got here. If I turn this on, can I actually see anything with the drill? I think we've got a gold deposit a little bit further down there. Hold on, let me just have a look where it is. There's the gold deposit. So I'll mine down to that area with the mining ship that I'm going to build and just keep all my operations underground until I'm ready to strike up on the top. So hopefully that's given you a solution for joining a server and really struggling. I found it really hard the other day, but hopefully this is just giving you an idea of how to start off if you're under constant fire or them guys are really out to actually get you. Anyway, let's thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.